Kyle. Tell me what you guys are up to.
When I think of documentary, I think of it as just a recording of real life.
Probably the day in the life of a certain person or character.
You show someone or something, a topic, kind of like display what that is.
Something that's already a part of like the fabric of the natural world like around us.
Have them like as natural as possible.
I first met Kyle in the summer of 2008, so this past summer. The first time I didn't think much of him. He seemed, in his positivity, too nice, like a little bit juvenile and mature, but it wasn't really. It's just very amiable.
I'm working on a documentary on Kyle, artist. He's like 22 years old.
I got in this class, like, oh, we need to do a project, and the first thing I thought was Kyle Ling. I'm like, Kyle, I can do Kyle. Kyle's an interesting character.
Andrew and I knew each other and we were friends, and then we met Fernando and we wanted to be in a group together.
And then I kind of emailed him, hey, I'm shooting a project, you want to do it with me?
He like has this guy contacted him already about doing it, and he said yes.
I was drawn into Kyle and what he was about.
And Oscar wanted to join the group because he thought Kyle was cool, I guess. I don't know, somehow we all fell into it.
So I kind of just walked over to him and I told him, I'm in your group, whether you like it or not.
It's interesting and it's doable, you know. It's not like we have to drive a billion hours to get there.
I feel very optimistic about the project.
I'm excited.
I have great teammates.
We haven't started So Nothing to like disillusion me yet.
Kyle seems like a very interesting character, you know, interesting guy.
He like is really into Disneyland and like taxidermy and all this like wacky stuff.
I know him to a certain extent, and he's more than willing to participate in it.
My job, other than just showing up.
I plan on being the editor.
I feel more so that I'm going to be directing.
The jack of all trades.
Yeah, I guess I supply the cameras and the mic, and I have like an editing station at home.
For this one, there's a meeting with him because he hasn't got acquainted with the entire group. I'm Kyle.
When we first encountered Kyle, he seemed very open. He's a modest person.
I thought, wow, this guy's really young and he's got so much energy. He's like all over the place.
Cool person. Chill.
Feels like he's from the Bay Area.
He took out his wallet and it's like white and it looks like a freaking iPod. It's really weird.
Seemed very open.
Very candid and like very humble.
Not a diva at all.
You know, dodgeball's been around forever.
Tonight they're playing dodgeball, which is cool.
Probably interview him beforehand about last week's game.
And I've never seen a dodgeball game, but I'm excited to kind of learn more about it.
How he got involved in dodgeball, how he feels about it, and does he feel that it affects his art by any means, the attitude towards it. Just get more dodgeball footage.
Kyle didn't show up on that last Thursday, 2 Thursdays ago. That was rough because I was already having a bad day.
We weren't rejected, just kind of a little bit blown off. Kyle on Thursday was unable to contact us. We had a scheduled meeting about 5 or so, and we called him repeatedly, but he never got back in contact with us. So
We were wondering like, when's Kyle gonna call us back?
it would have been nice to have a phone call.
We just drove around like Los Angeles for, I'm not even sure, maybe 2 hours, thinking like maybe he'll call us back, but we're not sure. We'll just continue driving around in the general area that he's in.
Thursday was just, for the most part, a minor failure, right?
He never called us back.
Kind of should have estimated this since his girlfriend came back.
More than anything, I just felt sick because I had a cold, but it was very disappointing.
Another third-party perspective would be really nice. Who are you and what do you do?
Meg and Jonathan Wells.
So we interviewed Meg and Jonathan.
They are curators, or they had begun Flux.
They're talking about like why they're interested in Kyle's work.
We started getting into asking questions about Kyle and his artwork and how they came in contact with him.
And I said something funny about Kyle's work, how it was like animals at Disneyland. Pretty much summed up our impression of him. Like, he's just so full of energy and like always saying like, yeah, it's crazy, you know, yeah, it's crazy.
They had spoken to us about how his art is very much like urban art. These things, these anomalies, these commodities of the art world, they said that Los Angeles wasn't really accustomed to it. That's something you would see in a gallery in New York or Paris.
But they're very cute, very dynamic together. Like, we interviewed them together, so nice.
You got a lot of good footage, I think. We're gonna head towards Kyle. Where you at right now?
Right now I'm at this clothing space. But I have a meeting for probably like a half an hour. But do you just want to head over here?
He's always in meetings. I'm jealous. It was me and Angela. We went to the boutique.
The store itself was interesting to stumble upon.
And it was sequestered on the second floor above a Starbucks.
Like, I walked in and I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that.
Owned and operated by Darren Romanelli, aka Dr. Romanelli, who had become famous or within the scene. He had sold 100 this red Levi's, like, I don't know what it was exactly, but he made a lot of money.
It was good that he was at the store. He was talking about how, you know, art is one thing, but like, how many people can you reach through art? It's such a exclusive kind of thing to be doing. He was like really getting more into design.
He had mentored Kyle, and he asked him back, saying, "Hey, I'm going to start this clothing line, and I want you to be part of it." And they worked out this idea of like an archaeologist and clothes in the future.
Like putting ideas into products for people to have in their everyday lives.
A lot of it just like product based.
It's a new thing, it's a fun thing, it's a swing wing. It's a what?
It progressed to the Milk interview, which we interviewed Kyle in front of Milk, and more and more that we interviewed him and talked to him, it gets not jaded, disenchanted. We were hoping for more depth. Then we found out that he was rich. He comes from a wealthy Asian family. He was able to come down here, and the way that he said that he had no friends, they had no money, but what that really means, we don't know.
Kyle's house?
It was on a Thursday again. Me and Angela drove out to Kyle's house.
He lives in the hills.
Right across the way from Universal Studios.
He's got a nice view.
He had tons of crap in the front of his house.
He's got a lot of stuff at his house.
A lot of birds.
Koalas.
Animatronic koalas. The thing was from Japan.
Random stuff like the infant stool cycle poster.
But his house is really cool.
Honestly, I feel like every time we see him, I want to make it to his studio, but we never get there.
Hey, we should get this Kyle interview. When's Kyle interview going to happen in the studio?
Studio.
I feel as if the bulk of the shots that we're going to be using are like studio shots.
It's just finding the right time to go.
I'm so frustrated. I'm so frustrated. I can't even believe it. Going to the studio, I felt relieved.
This is the interview that we need.
Finally, we're getting to the studio.
I feel like that was kind of like what we needed.
I think everybody's pretty adamant that we go there.
To get to see where Kyle works.
I was kind of excited at seeing what his studio is like.
It was like the backbone of the whole project.
There was stuff in his studio, like we hear it all, and the moss that he used, and some other sign that said, "Watch out for bees."
It was definitely essential.
Kind of intimate.
But more than anything, I was just like, thank God, we're finally here.
The last night of editing was horrible.
Last night of editing, how was it?
Last night editing was terrible. None of us slept.
From 11 to maybe 6 o'clock.
13 straight hours of hell.
There's no like definitive timeline of what happened.
Last minute bitching.
Angela was kind of like delusional.
It was difficult.
It was mostly just everyone freaking out.
We were like, damn, we could have had this shot. We need more of this.
But we just started throwing everything down.
Putting in whatever.
Not having the footage that you need.
I was feeling really bad about it.
Making something good out of that was a challenge.
I was so mad I wouldn't even talk to Andrew and Oscar.
She almost had a breakdown.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk over what kind of angle we should take.
Oscar wanted to take an angle on consumerism.
Oscar and I were talking about how Kyle's work is like very commercial.
You're giving the connotation to it.
You leave it up to the viewer to take that next step.
When things are mass-produced, it's highly consumeristic.
Let the footage speak for itself.
He wanted it to be more even-handed.
He was trying to take the angle. I don't think we should have.
He's mostly interested in like selling.
The angle we took was the influence of Walt Disney on his work.
To be honest with you, I didn't get that whole Disney thing.
We're going to present it how it is, and then other people will see it. So there's that.
The Wonderful World of Kyle Eam.
Kyle, who is this Kyle? Who is Kyle NG?
Oh no, the screening, okay.
It was like a train wreck. At first I'm like, hey, this is pretty good. And look at Angela, she's like looking away.
I was just very embarrassed about the whole thing.
Well, I hadn't seen like the whole editing process, so I was just like paying extra attention to see what the end result was.
We thought he was gonna snare at the fact that we didn't have footage of him actually creating something.
I didn't want to be necessarily associated with it.
At the end of the screening, I was kind of defensive.
But then we went up, and Professor Bloom, I don't know, he seemed alright.
Alan Bloom had like this big old smile across his face.
He seemed pretty smiley. I'm not really sure why.
Me and Andrew were both criticizing our own like project.
Me and Oscar got in the middle of argument.
And then the class loved it. People had nothing but positive things to say.
We felt like celebrities.
My expectations for what would happen were a lot worse, I think.
But yeah, we're done.
Open your heart to the Lord of Light. Open your heart and mind and let him in. He holds the key to the throne of might. You are empty. Say his name and let him in. All hail the dawn of a rising star. All hail the crowned and conquering child. The morning will come for you at last. No matter how far into night you have strayed, say his name. Welcome the child.